While global military observers are still arguing over the war report of J-10CE shooting down an Indian Rafale over Kashmir, this Chinese 4.5-generation fighter has quietly become a phenomenal weapon that has changed the rules of the international military trade. 2025 Langkawi Airshow. The crowd in front of the J-10CE model and the coldness of the US and Russia's fighter jet performance area formed a dramatic contrast. Behind this seemingly accidental heat, in fact, is the inevitable result of China's military industry 40 years of accumulation and thinning, but also the collective awakening of the global South countries in the field of technological autonomy and strategic security epitomized. In New Delhi, India, the Modi government is caught in an unprecedented strategic anxiety. On the one hand, the local glory fighter aircraft due to air combat fiasco by the military refused to buy the embarrassment. The other side of the French Dassault company to urgently send staff to negotiate the Rafale fighter system upgrade passive situation. This butterfly effect triggered by a warplane is setting off a hurricane far beyond expectations on the global military-industrial map. The J-10CE's victory in air combat is not an accidental outburst of the performance of a single aircraft, but a concentrated manifestation of China's systematic breakthroughs in military industry. The aircraft is equipped with KLJ-7A active phased array radar with a detection range of 200 kilometers, together with the PL-15E missile range of 145 kilometers, building the world's farthest discovery strike closed loop in the active combat aircraft. This technology generation gap in the actual combat to form a downward strike when the Indian Su-30 MKI pilots are still manually switching the Russian and French equipment data chain. Pakistani AWACS has been through the Chinese Link 17 data chain, will be the target of real-time synchronization of information to the J-10CE cockpit to achieve the Ashapi guide, cross-platform coordinated operations. More critically, China provides ZDK-03 early warning aircraft, Red Flag 9B air defense system, and fighter aircraft composed of air and space iron triangle, the traditional air war to the system confrontation. This system integration capability is the core competitiveness of the West's long-term monopoly. Indian Air Force Chief of Staff Dhanoa in the review report painfully admitted, "We lost is not a few aircraft, but the entire combat system generation difference." The root of this systematic advantage is deeply rooted in the history of China's aviation industry's 40 years of breakout, in the wake of its humble beginnings. 1986, when Project 10 was launched, the engineers at Chengdu Institute of Aircraft Design were still verifying the aerodynamic parameters with abacuses and calculating rulers, and the tragic oath of chief designer Song Wenkong and test pilot Lei Qiang that they would wrestle on the runway on the night before the maiden flight reflected the difficult situation during the era of technological blockade. Nowadays, J-10CE adopts the DSI air intake design, which is optimized through thousands of wind tunnel tests, compressing the radar reflection area to 1 square meter, the 30 degrees second instantaneous angular speed of turbofan 10B vector engine makes the aircraft have the ability of leaf floating, super maneuvering in the close-range fighting. The deep-seated power of this leapfrog development comes from the comprehensive rise of China's manufacturing industry, 35% of the world's industrial output value in 2024, supporting 40,000 missiles per year, 1.8 million drones of the horror of the production capacity. To build up a laboratory innovation, production line validation, battlefield inspection of the rapid iteration of the closed loop. While Loma is still arguing over the software upgrade of F-35, AVIC engineers have completed the 17th technical iteration of J-10CE in the digital twin system through virtual reality technology. The emergence of J-10CE is dismantling the Western-led military trade order. The French Rafale's aristocratic pricing of $240 million per unit appears pale in comparison to the J-10CE's $40 million price tag. More fatal is that China's pioneering package military sales mode. Customers only need to put forward operational needs. China National Aero Technology can be customized to include early warning aircraft data chain, the overall solution of the training system. This turnkey project completely subverted the traditional toothpaste technology transfer. Malaysia's Deputy Prime Minister Zahid in Langkawi Airshow exclamation is quite representative. The future of the military market will no longer be monopolized by the traditional powers. China is opening up a new track. Data show that after the air war, Saudi Arabia immediately started 60 J-10CE procurement negotiations. Egypt is packaged order warplanes and 052 to destroyers. This, bundled sales, is the formation of a new ecology of military trade. Even the traditional pro-Western UAE, also in the Dubai Airshow during the secret inspection J-35 stealth fighters, its Ministry of Defense officials privately confessed China's equipment compatibility and scalability, so that we can get rid of the system of kidnapping of Western suppliers. This technological revolution has triggered a chain reaction that goes beyond the military. India tried to deter Pakistan by cutting off water after losing the air war, but was embarrassed to find that the upper reaches of the Chenab River are controlled by China. The United States hastened to mediate the Indo-Pakistani conflict, but the Pakistani side, thanks to China, statement dissolved the authority of mediation. A deeper change has taken place in the cognitive realm, when Indonesia considered defaulting on its Rafale because of its poor performance, and when Turkey gave up its F-35S and switched to J-35S, countries in the global south began to realize that Chinese equipment is not only a weapon, but also a strategic autonomy from Western technological subordination. This awakening is particularly evident in Southeast Asia. The strong interest shown by the Vietnamese military and political delegation in the J-10CE at the Langkawi Airshow is not so much a thirst for weapons as a quest to build a non-Western-centered security system. Even the Maldives, an island nation in the Indian Ocean, announced in the wake of the air war that it would procure 12 J-10CEs to replace its aging Indian MiG-21S, with its defense minister bluntly stating, "We need a defense system that can be maintained autonomously, not a technological yoke that will always be subjected to others." The future picture of the sky is being reconstructed in this change. Wind tunnel test photos from the Chengdu Aircraft Design Institute show that the J-10D prototype, which uses plasma stealth technology, has completed its maiden flight, and the concept of the loyal wingman, unveiled at the Zhuhai Airshow, signals a new paradigm for manned and unmanned aircraft to work together. More noteworthy is the Chinese military industries, ecological counter capabilities, J-20 and J-10CE, high and low collocation, Air Marshal 500 and oil tanker 20, multiplication, is building the world's first full-spectrum domesticated air combat system. This system advantage in the Russian-Ukrainian battlefield has already appeared. Ukraine is equipped with Western weapons due to the system of fragmentation of repeated coordination errors, while China provided to Serbia's FK-3 air defense system, can seamlessly access the original Russian equipment. This compatibility is the core competitiveness of the future of the military trade. As the Royal United Services Institute report said, China is using the open thinking of the Android system, subverting the Apple-style closed military system. The wheel of history always moves forward in the bite of technological revolution and geopolitical change. When J-10CE projected its slender figure, under the limelight of Paris Airshow and Langkawi Airshow, it carried not only the dream of China's aeronautics people to strengthen the country, but also the declaration of an ancient civilization to regain the right of technological discourse, amidst the 100 years of changes. In the unsolved smoke over the Indian Ocean, the wreckage of the Rafale is drifting into the distance with the ocean current, while the J-10CE's trajectory has crossed the Strait of Malacca, writing new rules in the clouds of Southeast Asia. This is perhaps the most poetic footnote to the rise of China's military industry. When Chief Engineer Song Wenkong drew a sketch of the duck-type aerodynamic layout on the blackboard with chalk on that chilly spring morning in 1982, he might not have imagined that 43 years later, this aircraft, which is ridiculed by the West as the Oriental Phantom, would become a strategic pivot for reshaping the map of the world's military industry. The strategic pivot that reshaped the world's military landscape. And in the far future, from J-20 to Boom 20, from air and space planes to quantum radar, the starry sea of China's military industry has just been unveiled.